Hello everyone, welcome to Cooking with Logan. My name's Logan and today we're making homemade pasta. Let's get right to it. What you're gonna wanna do, guys, is take your pasta and you can just go ahead and put that in there. Put the lid over it. Don't bother turning on the heat or anything, and you should have homemade pasta anytime now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot, and can't wait to see you on Wednesday. Take care. Bye. Sorry about that, guys. I've been told that making homemade pasta is a little more complicated than that. So we're gonna try that method instead of the one I just showed you. So just forget about the first little bit of this video. Now, jokes aside, we gotta thank XploreNet for sponsoring our April, May, and June boxes. Without XploreNet, we wouldn't be able to get all these activity boxes out to you guys, and we wouldn't be able to make these videos. So thank you so much, XploreNet. Let's see what you need for homemade pasta, for real this time. Now, don't get overwhelmed, but really all you'll need for this recipe is flour and eggs. I've got a little bit of extra flour for dusting, but otherwise, this is all you need to make homemade pasta. Now, of course, you don't like just raw pasta, so we've got some other ingredients to sort of pep it up, give it flavor, really make it a dish. Today, I'm gonna be making ravioli, but you can make whatever kind of noodles you want with the pasta recipe we're doing. For ravioli, you're going to need a tablespoon of water and an egg. This is gonna make an egg wash so we can seal up our ravioli, keep it closed. And then my personal filling for the ravioli is gonna be some goat cheese. I've got some pesto, I've got some sweet potato, and I've got some sauce to go on the outside. Now this next part is gonna be really messy, but a ton of fun, so wash up your hands and we're gonna get started on this pasta. Now, this might seem kind of weird, but you're gonna wanna take your flour and literally just dump it out into a pile. Now, you're gonna wanna make what's called a well, and this is gonna be almost a little bowl that we make out of our flour, and we're gonna put our eggs in there. So you can see we've got a little bowl with little flour walls going up. And now you're gonna wanna take your eggs one at a time and crack them in there all at once. Here's a pro tip. It's actually easier to crack an egg on a flat surface like this than it is on the edge of a pan. Now, depending on how tall your eggs get, you might have to do some flour wall fortification over here. We're just gonna make sure our eggs stay nice and inside our flour well. And I'm dipping out. And we're going to take a fork and whip these eggs. Now, very carefully, just move your fork in a circular motion using your wrist and start to slowly mix the flour and the eggs together. Every once in a while, you can kind of push a little flour in, push a little flour in, until eventually we're going to get a pasta ball. Whoa. Whoa. No. No. Oh. Now, you might have been able to tell that we had a little problem there. One of our flour walls was breached and egg flowed out everywhere. We did our best to scoop up the egg that was escaping. And after some time and after pushing through a little discouragement, hey, we've got our dough ball. It's gonna look rough for now, but I promise after some pounding, this is gonna look like a true pasta dough that we can make noodles out of. So just stick with me here. Now, we're not gonna need all of this flour, so we're gonna maybe push some off to the side, and we're gonna keep some around just to make sure our pasta doesn't stick when we're kneading it. So that begs the question, what is kneading? Well, kneading is when you take a dough like this and you pound on it with the palm of your hand to sort of strengthen the dough to make sure it takes on the form that you want it to. This is a very important process, not only in making pasta, but also in making many breads and baked goods as well. And we're gonna have to knead for at least 5 minutes once it comes into a nice tacky ball. I'll show you what you need to look for. All you need right now is some muscles and patience. All right, now after 5 minutes and a lot of upper arm strength, we've got our dough ball. Now I'm going to show you what it means for it to be tacky and some things you can do if you don't have the result that you need. So you want your dough to be tacky. You probably noticed after kneading it, it's a lot sturdier than it was before, but if you poke it, it should bounce back like that, you see? That means that it is tacky, and this is a good thing. Now, if your dough is crumbling or it's really, really wet, what you can do is either add water to it. If it's crumbly, just splash it with water and knead it some more. Otherwise, you can add some flour if it's feeling a little too wet. Try kneading it and just go from there. Now, we're going to wrap our pasta in some plastic wrap and throw it in the fridge to rest for 30 minutes, just because we were beating it up for so long. After those 30 minutes, we're gonna be able to roll it into some noodles. Until then, let's make our filling. Now, what's great about ravioli is you can basically put whatever filling you want into it. I imagine a lot of you guys are gonna wanna do maybe some ground beef and some mozzarella, and that sounds super delicious. Feel free to get creative. For me, I cut up some sweet potato. I went ahead and put it in a microwave-safe bowl, and I microwaved it for about 5 or 6 minutes. That way it was nice and soft for me to mash up with my other ingredients. So I went ahead and put my sweet potato in a bowl. I mashed it up nice and good. I added my goat cheese, which is a delicious tangy cheese. It's got a great texture. I added some pesto, some salt, and some pepper. I made sure to mix it all around, and of course, I'd be remiss not to taste it. Lo and behold, it was delicious. And with our delicious topping done, it's time to prepare for the ravioli. A good first step is to fill a big pot with some water. Give it a nice generous salting, and you're going to want to cover that with a lid and turn it up to max once we want to start cooking our ravioli. If you're wondering why we salt the water, well, it's going to give the pasta some extra flavor, it's going to make the water boil quicker, and it's how a no-no used to do it. And our last step before making the ravioli is to make our glue. No, not that glue, this glue. You're going to want to take 1 egg and add a tablespoon of water to it. Then you're just going to want to beat it up, and this is going to act as our egg wash or our glue. Now, if you've got a culinary brush, that's going to work great, but just spooning it on is going to work fine too. Now, to give you a good idea what my ravioli station is looking like, I'm going to run you through. I've got a rolling pin here to get it nice and thin. We've got some flour dusted so that the pasta doesn't stick. We've got our glue or egg wash that's going to help seal up our ravioli. We've got our filling, which obviously is going to go inside our ravioli. We've got a glass to cut our ravioli, or if that doesn't work, we've got a knife. And we've got a little platter to set our ravioli on top of before we boil it. Here's my pasta. And I have a sneaking suspicion that it's going to be too big, so I'm actually going to start by cutting it in half. And then all we're going to do is just roll this out as thin as we can. Now, a good tip to tell if it is thin enough is if you can see your hand through the dough. I think we've just about got there, so it's time to make them. So we're gonna start out with our egg wash here, and we're just going to cover the whole thing in this glue. Again, when we close up our raviolis, this is gonna make sure it stays closed. Next up is our filling. So we're gonna take small portions of our filling and put them into little balls on 1/2 of our ravioli. Now we can go ahead and do our best to fold our pasta dough over these little sweet potato stuffing nuggets. So go ahead and use your hand to just sort of connect both sides of the dough. As you can see, mine are looking nice and connected there. And then use your finger to get the air out of your little pockets. Now you can use a glass if you want. Mine turned out to be too big. So I'm going to carefully take a knife and slice these apart. And then, you've probably seen this before, I'm gonna take my fork and make sure that the ravioli is closed by pressing my fork along the edges. If you've got some gross extra stuff, you can also trim that off if you want. But otherwise, it's all about how it tastes, not how it looks. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing with the other half of our dough, then we're gonna cook them. And at last, we've got these cute, honestly massive raviolis. I've got my water boiling, and I'll show you how to cook them. So, gang, you're gonna wanna take your ravioli and very carefully lower it into the boiling water. Now these are gonna actually float to the top when they're done. They should take between 4 and 6 minutes, but we'll see. Until then, we're just gonna put maybe 4 in. Start with 4, see what happens, and then we'll cook the rest. Now it's been 4 minutes, and we've tested one of our raviolis. It's not quite done yet, so we're gonna plop it back in. With pasta, you kinda wanna test it as you go. There's no set time. All right, all of our ravioli is off to the side draining from the water, and we've whipped up a quick sauce with some basic tomato sauce, the rest of our ravioli filling, some chili peppers, and salt and pepper. We're gonna throw everything together, and then we've got our dish, all from scratch. Nice. Here's our delicious looking sauce, and we're gonna put our raviolis in there and mix it up nice. And I've plated my pasta. It's just about lunchtime and I'm about to dig in. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this homemade pasta making journey. I really want to see what you guys make. Remember, you don't have to make ravioli. You can make lasagna, fettuccine, whatever you like. So please send me what kind of flavors, what kind of pasta styles you chose. I'm really excited to see them. Otherwise, on Wednesday, we've got a very fun Kahoot trivia night. All participants will be eligible to win a prize, so please sign up for that. To submit or sign up for anything, just message us on Facebook, shoot us an email, or send us a text. Again, thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna go enjoy this pasta. I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.